I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you from the other side of COVID. Jarad, how are you?
Back on Zoom, mate. Back on Zoom. We thought we'd have to squeeze this one in, but yeah, man, I'm well. I'm well. I'm much better than well, I'm hoping you're better, but you've had a pretty rough trot of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I finally got the bug that I've been trying to avoid. I've been very diligent about it, but it was just unavoidable. Ripped through my workplace. So, I'm not superhuman, unfortunately. But, look, I got through it. It took me a while. I think today would be day 16 or something. But I know everyone's affected differently, and I've never dealt well with colds of any sort, which are coronaviruses.
Yeah.
So, I'm just one of those people that takes time to get over a cold. And yeah, some people get over it in a week. Some people I heard about got through it in a day. But for me, it was pretty much 10 days. And then, I'm still not 100%. I've still got that tickle in the throat.
You've still got that little bit of a nasally sound too that I had as well. Like I felt I was okay, but you just feel like your voice is a little bit nasal.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward when COVID's around, everyone's looking at you like still infectious. No, that's still good. But no, I'm glad you're back on your feet. Even if it's a little bit, even if you're still a little bit feeling a little bit, but it's good to see you, and hope everything is looking up for you and the family.
Thanks, Jarad. Look, speaking of looking up, I think the last episode when you came over to my garage, to the Cave of Wonders, we talked about luck changing. I think that was where we finished off the last topic. And I said, oh, look, let's discuss that next time. That sounds really cool. Obviously, our luck changed a lot. We were on this great roll where you were coming over and we were recording in person again. And then I got hit with COVID. So our luck changed. So I just want to segue back to that topic. You just told me something just as we met up this morning about your luck. Can you share that?
Yeah, I can. So I had Friday off as a the girls they had a day off school because of teacher action or something like that. So it was a planned day off school, so I had to take a day off work. So I thought I'll go to the movies. We'll go to McDonald's for lunch. Like I'll fill in some hours. Doing dad duties. Just trying to survive. And so we go to the movies and we head off. And as I drive off, my petrol light comes on, and I'm like, that's weird. I've still got a quarter of a tank in the gauge, and it's still showing that I had over 100 kilometers on the range. Like, okay, well, I'll find a petrol station soon. That 2 minutes later, on the worst bend in human history of roads, I ran out of petrol, and when I say petrol, it's actually a diesel engine. So what that means is, for those who don't know, you can't just put petrol into it and start it. You've actually got to get towed to a mechanic, and they've got to flush the system. Like it's a thing with diesel engines or older diesel engines. So that was an ordeal, and I had to. I'm sure I wasn't the first person, but I had to get the girls out of the car safely and get them across the road. And we were sort of sitting in someone's front yard, waiting for someone to come pick them up, and then I had the tow truck. Yeah, so that was my luck on Friday. It was a beautiful morning, and then by 11:30, I was stranded on the road. So it changed in a second for me that day. But I felt a bit like a dope. I ran out of petrol, but I'm blaming the mechanics of the car. I still had a quarter of a tank apparently. So yeah. Anyway, that's me. I was a dope on Friday, and I ran out of petrol.
How's that possible, though, that the gauge was so far off?
Look, I've done some phone calls and spoken to mechanics and that, and it's not that uncommon, but it's this little thing in the petrol tank, and it's not a very elaborate name. They're called senders, and they send the information to the petrol gauge on your dashboard, and it's basically, imagine like a floating device in your tank of fuel, and it just drops down and it sends the information. So they reckon that might be out or off or something, and it does happen. So yeah, just I suppose it's a ticking time bomb whether we run out of petrol or not. If these senders start to play up, but I filled it up with fuel, and at showing a full tank. So it's working, but maybe it's just temperamental, or maybe I was on a hill. I don't know. But that's like I said, I'm blaming those things, not me. It's not my fault ever.
Well, you know what, Jared? I'm going to give you a pass on this one because a quarter of a tank and the fuel light just coming on. I've driven with the fuel light for, up to like 30 kilometers.
Oh, I'm sure everyone has, and like I know my car. I've had it for a long time, so I've done that, and I've trusted the range, like going down to around that sort of 100 to 80 k's left in the tank. You got a fuel station nearby, so it's just a matter of going, okay, well, surely I'm not. But then, people have said don't trust it that much, and now that's happened. They've kind of doubled down on that. So, yeah, there you go. That's the first world problems of me on Friday.
Yeah, it's still very annoying doing that, especially with kids. Jeez.
Yeah, well, it was a $250 mistake, basically.
Yeah, wow.
By the time I got towed into the mechanic and did his thing, so yeah.
Well, look, to me, that's an example of
3 days without that car as well. So it was a little bit inconvenience.
Wow. Look, to me, that's an example of bad luck. I know that ultimately, we are responsible for our actions, but like I said, plenty of people have driven I've driven with the fuel light on for a long time, and a quarter of a tank, you'd never panic at that point anyway, especially when you're in town.
Not in Sydney.
Yeah, so that's a case of bad luck. Overall,
thank you for your support.
No, look, I feel like you've been ripped off. But overall, do you consider yourself a lucky man?
Yes, overall, yeah, 100%. There's things in life that I guess you have control of most things of your life, but there's some things you can't, and I'm very lucky. I'm lucky. I'm not going to think about naming it all, but my whole life in general is a combination of luck and good and bad decisions, like mistakes and learning from them. It's like a game of poker, really. You can, when you're really into poker, you can, and you're playing, reasonable level poker. There's a lot of skill involved, but there's that 10% luck, or percentages are wrong, but you know what I mean. There's that part of luck that you've got a good hand.
That's a really good point. I'd love to know what the percentage of luck is that you need in life to get by.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. It's I think it changes. I think it changes with certain things in life, like if you're just getting up and doing the mundane routine, there's not much luck. You know it, your body's doing it. But I suppose it's when you're doing new things or trying to succeed at certain things, I guess there's a certain amount of luck, and getting employment, maybe there might be a bit of luck involved in that. You can be the best at what they're asking for, but if someone comes in and they just take a shining to that person, that's luck, really, isn't it? That's a connection, but I suppose that's bad luck for you, the fact that you can do the job better, and good luck for them that they're able to connect with the person that they're talking to.
Totally. Like, that could have not happened. You could have not crossed paths with that person at that time. You could have been born at a different time in history. I look at some of the tennis players that are around now, and they're just phenomenal, yet they happen to be born in the wrong era. Yeah. They happen to be playing against Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. How's that fair?
I know. It's like, I think there was a period of the swimming as well, I think, where Australia had it was around the year 2000, because of our Olympics were here. And I think, the Australians were at the peak of their sort of powers when it came to swimming. And, like, I think there was guys like who, they just wrong era. There was Kieran Perkins, who was a superstar, and then Grant Hackett took over at that level. But there was a guy, I think was his name Daniel Kowalski or something. Maybe I'm getting the name wrong, but he always came second, and his times were, world-beating times. But Kieran Perkins, and then Grant Hackett, and he was kind of in the middle there. He kind of had both of them. I think he thought once Kieran Perkins retired, he thought, yes, I've got myself a gold medal here. And then Grant Hackett comes along and smashes that. So how unlucky is that?
Yeah, you're right. It was Daniel Kowalski, but yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible
Chris
luck.
Whitaker is another a halfback for the Wallabies. Poor guy,
right,
man. Unbelievable player, but George Gregan was in front of him.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and it's something that you simply can't control.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's probably the fact that with those guys, and it's partly luck, but I mean, they're probably there pushing that other person to excel further, and it's sort of like, oh, well, me being here has actually made them better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It could be, you could miss the train, and you hear about all those stories and about people who miss the plane or and then they'll miss the train, and then there's something that occurs like an accident or something, and
Yep.
they
That's
should have
right.
been on that train, or they should have been in that bus, and things like that occur. The World Trade Center thing has not thousands, but quite a few stories of people who just rang in sick that day or didn't wake up, missed their alarm, and just that's out of everyone's control.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of stuff. And it makes you think about life overall, doesn't it? When that sort of thing happens to you personally, when you're like, wow, I was supposed to be there. I guess it makes you reassess all of life as a whole.
But I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to, but should it? Like, you can't control that. You can't control, you were supposed to be there. The fact that you weren't there was a mistake, for example, or, something happened, you ran out of petrol, but, like, does that mean you have to reassess your life because of something that's occurred? Like, I don't know. I'm not questioning that, but I just want to know, do you think so?
I don't think it's that you have to reassess your life and all of your personal life choices, but I think life as a whole, like the structure of life, that you do this cause and then there's an effect afterwards. To me, it takes things out of your hands. I like the saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him you have plans.
Like that, actually. I never heard that.
Yeah, I think it's a really good one. And you don't have to be religious to understand what I mean there. I'm not religious myself, but, I definitely get a lot out of that. And it's true. Like the amount of things that you plan, especially when you're a child. I had this Simpsons Illustrated book when I was like 11 or something. It had, Bart's ultimate treehouse in it. And I remember looking at that going, oh, yeah, I'd love to do this and have that. And I know that it's a very crude example of what I mean by plans, but
yes.
When you're a child, anything is possible. And I think that's why being a teenager is so cool, because, you've got all the power of an adult. You can reproduce at that point. You're pretty strong. A 16-year-old boy is very, very strong. But you've got none of the responsibility, and life hasn't crushed you yet, has it? None of the bad luck has happened.
What a time to be alive, huh, Tina?
Yeah, it really is. And
you're right. I mean, I know your life hasn't crushed you yet. Can be, you think, oh, well, that's quite a negative comment, but it's true. Life slowly, and not in a bad way, but slowly, you get more and more things on your shoulders, and you've got to deal with that before you can think about, your treehouse.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're sort of that 14, 15, 16-year-old, that stuff isn't there yet to worry about. So it was, you're right. It's a good time to be alive, isn't it?
And that's the sort of stuff that you were concerned with, like I said, it's just a symbol of what you can be concerned with. But this real big fantasy that you can do this, and at that point in your life, you haven't paid a single bill. So a lot of things happen in between, and when a big life-changing event happens, for example, missing a plane that ended up crashing into a building, you start to think, what do I have control of? Like, what am I just floating here in the universe? And we literally are on a rock that's just orbiting a ball of plasma. That's it. We're just going round and round in circles, and we just get older and older, and then we die. And in between that, I'm meant to dodge all these meteorites that come at me. And that's the luck. Yeah,
you're right. It's I suppose it doesn't make you reassess your life. I suppose it makes you think about what you have, and where I don't know where I'm going with this one, but where you would go I guess it makes you think about things and go, okay, am I making the right decision here? And I suppose it is a bit of a reassessment when you avoid, let's go right to the top, avoid tragedy, because of something that's out of your control. And it probably makes you, on the other end, if you are, you do end up in an accident in a bus, or get hit by something, or something is completely out of your control, and it's not tragic. It's sort of you end up, I guess, counting your lucky stars. Is that sort of saying, well, okay, I'm here for a second chance, or whatever that might be. Like people who, I don't know about you, but people who have that mindset of like, hey, I could not be here because of that accident or because of what occurred. Those people were interesting people to be around, like, because they have that, they don't have much holding them back anymore. Like the restrictions that we put on ourselves, they might have, the reins might be a little less tight for them, because they've kind of experienced a situation that they couldn't, what am I waiting for? You only live once, sort of thing. So, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I've already died, like this is, anything from here is a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that a lot with my dad. It's really beautiful, actually. He's a different man. So he was in a coma last year. And look, he should have died. I don't know how he didn't.
Yeah.
One of our best mates, he's an AMBO who's actually at the hospital that night. And he was, great and so supportive. It was really nice to have a friend on the inside. And he spoke to the paramedics who attended my dad, and they said, yeah, look, when they tried to take his temperature, it didn't even work. Like, he was that far off the charts. And I remember the phone call from this friend, and, he said, yeah, I remember his exact words was, your dad's not well.
Yeah.
So, but let me tell you something else. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit crazy here.
Okay. Let me put the seatbelt on, mate.
All right. So that night, it was a Tuesday night that it happened.
Yep.
And I was on a sleepover at work. So, I'm completely powerless because I've got to be at work. But, all I can do is make phone calls. And I rang my sister. And I don't know if she'll mind me sharing this story, but sorry about that. But I'm going to share it anyway. And she said to me, look, I saw a psychic, and he told me that dad was going to get really sick, but he was going to be okay. And this was the first night. So we didn't actually know what was going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
And she said to me at the time, because she thought, like the psychic's got it wrong. Like, my dad's a very physically resilient guy, and it's my mum that quite often gets sick. So she's like, are you sure it's not my mum that you're talking about? And he said, no, it's definitely your dad. And what happened? Well, he got very sick and he got better, just as the psychic said.
Wow.
I know. And look, you could say, yeah, it's just coincidence. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying it's anything, but it's one of those crazy things in life that makes you go, whoa, what happened there?
Yeah,
I'm a man of science. I'm not saying this person had any great insights or anything like that, but it was very interesting. And this was, like I said, this was the first night. It's not like, my dad had recovered or anything. My sister could talk about it in hindsight. It was the first night. And she was told this before anything happened.
I mean, it obviously put a lot of confidence in your sister to hear that. Well, when she found out your dad was ill, to then refer straight back to that, whether that was a month earlier, 2 years earlier, or whatever, that stuck with your sister as being, what, she's straight away referred back to that. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Skeptical sort of mind would say, like, oh, well, she's, of a certain age. Her dad, if he's still, as a psychic would go, well, if your dad's here, parents are here, they're obviously older. Most older people have some form of illness. It's a bit of a Hail Mary, I guess, when it comes to
definitely.
that. But look, it's pretty cool that's, part of me straight away when you're telling the story, I'm like, has she seen this psychic again? Like, for me, it's like, I need to double down on that sort of stuff. Like, I do the paranormal stuff. So for me, it's not just seeing one thing and going, okay, the world is surrounded by psychic and ghosts and all this sort of stuff. For me, it's like, okay, that happened. Can we get other things happen? So, do you go and see this psychic again and explain, or not even explain, just sort of say, oh, okay, I'm just sort of seeing you, and you said this last time. And I don't know, for me, I'd be interested in hearing that. So
Yeah.
if he's listening, maybe go see this person again and let us know.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And
Pretty cool.
you said something there. You said that it gave my sister confidence going through this.
Yeah.
It definitely did. And it kind of lays a layer of faith in your mind, I guess. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Obviously, my dad had no control over this. He had no idea about it.
Yeah.
But for us, it did. And I'm not saying our belief helped my dad heal or anything, but I'm just saying that once you plant an idea in someone's mind, it's very strong. And to give you an example of that, speaking of luck, we've talked about my professional life before where, nothing has worked out for me. I've tried all these different things in terms of, writing, the creative arts, which is a difficult field. So I believe that you need a lot of luck in order to be successful in that. I can't just, make one good thing and then get a job because of it. Like if you want to become a carpenter, well, you just get an apprenticeship, you go through the motions and you get a job as a carpenter, done. You can't just go, I'm going to become a novelist, and then you write a novel and then someone takes it and puts it on the shelf for you, just like that. It takes a lot of luck. So I had dinner with a friend of ours. This was back in February, and she had started astrology probably 6 months before. And I'm trying to get her on this show. We had plans to, and we will. And she did a birth chart for me. So she found out where I was born, at what time. And she said that I had, I might get this wrong, but a Charon wound in my, in one of my houses or something, in my fourth house or something like that. Now, that means nothing to me, by the way, everybody.
Four houses? What?
Means nothing at all. But she said that it was healing, and things were going to change for me. Now, again, that means the language means nothing, but the idea meant a lot. That to me, it was like, your luck will change. So that's when I started my cryptocurrency, and I thought, okay, well, maybe there's a chance that, if I can just try different things. And it's not about money to me. It's not like I'm going to try to make it financially successful. I just mean, to get a book published, you might only sell, a few thousand copies, but just the idea of someone enjoying your work, sharing ideas and connecting with people, to me, that's success. It's not about selling 1 billion copies and becoming the next J.K. Rowling. It was about, connecting with people through ideas and a story. That did give me confidence. Now, my luck has changed completely again. The ecosystem through which I started my cryptocurrency was exploited. So, that's a whole other story. It's shut down at the moment. So my token that was doing okay, and I built a little community, has been completely stopped through no fault of my own, through something I could not have foreseen. I've spent a lot of money on it, spent a lot of time on it, and because someone really, really smart somewhere found an exploit in the code, they drained millions of dollars out of this ecosystem. So they've had to put it all on pause. I couldn't see that coming.
No, no, you had it planned and had it sorted, and then somebody else, out of your control, did something else.
Yep. So I had all these plans, and God just rubbed his hands together and had a bit of a laugh, going, "All right, let's see what happens from here, buddy." No, and I don't mean that literally, but you know what I mean. That things happen that are completely out of your control. So when I say that it makes you reassess life, I don't mean that it makes me go, "Oh God, I'm never going to make it," and life's too hard. I don't mean that at all. What I mean is that my approach to life, obviously, has to shift a little bit. So I look at it and think, okay, well, maybe life is just all you do is do your best. You take shelter when you need it, and try to mitigate your losses. So, you've got to harvest at the right time. You've got to take those profits. You've got to do the right thing. And just essentially life comes down to just risk management, which sounds so boring. But, at this age, maybe we've got to take, a different approach to things. I don't know.
So, look, it is risk management, really, isn't it? It just depends on how much you want to manage, and how far you want to spread your wings. But as life goes on, you get things that are closer to you, and like you said, you get, well, like I said, you get more things packed on your shoulders to manage, and it's just the balancing act, really. Nothing too profound to say about it, other than I agree.
Yeah, look, I don't want it to break down life to be so boring that it is just about risk management. But I guess when you can take care of yourself, take care of the animal parts of your life, that you've got shelter, clothing, food. After that, what are you actually risking? If all of that's safe, the only thing that's at risk is your ego. Really, it's having to, and I'm using air quotes here. Having to tell people that you failed again. That's the only thing. Yeah. So really, if you can conquer your ego, that's the battle. You can do anything you want, and you can have a go at anything you want.
Oh, totally. And that's where, I said, oh, look, you can go as far as you want, but you hit the nail on the head where you said, once you're safe and secure and your immediate surroundings are safe and secure, stepping out and doing something like a bit out there that might be deemed unsafe or risky won't be as risky for you and the people surrounding you, because and I'm talking about, I'm not talking about jumping off a building and doing building abseiling, whatever the hell that's called, but I'm talking about just writing a book or starting something, or putting yourself out there to coach your kids under 9 soccer team, things like that make you feel out of your comfort zone, become a little bit more comfortable when you feel safer in your foundations are built, essentially you're safer at home around yourself. And I must say, like, I just sort of joked with the girls' soccer team, but I'm feel like at first I was very apprehensive, and I was struggling with it, and now, like, I feel like I'm thinking of things to do, and I'm actually like enjoying it. Like, I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I was also, a little bit worried about how, managing all the other parents, managing the kids, doing stuff to keep them interested, the speeches before and after the game and at halftime, and, all that sort of stuff that you don't think of. But I knew as a sports person, I knew that I'd have to do, and it kind of freaked me out. But now it's like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's not as cutthroat as I thought. But again, that's feeling safer, and I've managed that situation a bit better in my mind. So then now I can go, I might coach them next year, or, that sort of stuff. So that's only little, but that's, that's an experience that I'm having at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jarad. That's really cool that you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think that'd be the case, but I think I could coach. Look, realistically, it's just hanging out with your daughter. Really, that's it. I could be trying to coach piano lessons. They'd be terrible at piano, but I've had fun.
But look, that's you're putting yourself out there, and that's the thing. Like I said, it's about your ego. That's all. That's the only thing that's going to get bruised here. You might get yelled at by a 9-year-old kid saying, "You're the worst coach I've ever had." That might kill you.
One of the kids called me weird. Yeah, that was my first training session. You're the weird guy. I'm like, what?
She must have heard the ghost editions of the podcast.
She likes me. Yeah, she likes me now. I was a little rocky at the start.
But that's one of the biggest things, isn't it? It's rejection. We've talked about this many times, and as a teenager, we talked about how invincible you are. Well, you're that invincible, but you're so scared to go up to a girl and tell her you like her.
I know, right?
Wow, you're a real tough guy, aren't you? But you can't put that on the line.
Yeah, well, it's ego. Yeah, that's right. It's rejection.
Exactly. And you know what? Once I learned how to put that aside and just live from the heart, that's when I really came alive in my life. I just want to add something, Jarad. I heard some pretty cool stuff. One was called the luck surface area, which is the more you do, the more luck you're going to get. So another expression I heard was luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So, if you do put yourself in all those positions, get really, really healthy, wear deodorant, brush your teeth, look half decent. When you do meet that, perhaps, a significant other, you've got an opportunity, you've got a chance. Whereas, if you don't do any preparation, well, that luck just can't happen. That event cannot happen.
Yeah.
It's almost like a chemical mixture. You put in all the work, and then the universe comes to the table as well, and you mix it all together, and boom, that's your life.
I do like that, the luck surface area. That's good. It's more of a landing pad for the luck to to hit rather than a little spot that you've got to prepare for it. So that's a good one, mate. I really like that. I know you didn't make it up, but it's not a bad little thing to live by.
Yeah, I just want to share that with all our 2 listeners because it's it's inspiring. It's like stick around, have a go, and you never know. And look, there are people out there who do nothing and it falls into their lap. You hear about that, the guy that plays Powerball once in his whole life and wins 130 million. It happens. Yeah.
I'm probably that guy, actually.
And, good on that person. Lucky them. But that's not the rest of us. For me, when I look at my life and how lucky I've been, I was accepted into Australia as a refugee at a time before Australia had compassion fatigue. So I was born in a refugee camp, and I would never tell anyone, hey, you know what? My life's turned out really well. You should give birth in a refugee camp. It works out really well. I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that it all worked out.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So look, you never know what's going to happen in life, and you've just got to hang in there. You never know when your luck's going to change. When I look at the market in crypto, we're in a bear market at the moment, and when a bear market turns into a bull market, they call it a reversal. The bottom is in, and the graph goes up. You never know when the bottom is in your life. You think sometimes you've hit rock bottom, and then you keep digging somehow. But you know what? It really is only up from there once you hit bottom. So look, just hang in there, everybody. I don't know what anybody's going through in their life at the moment, but it does get better, especially if you're young and you think, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. My poor youngest son, he's 7. He was doing some training the other night. He was doing sit-ups and commando rolls. And he was doing that because he was worried that he might have to go to war one day. A 7-year-old kid doing that, not for fun, not for sport or anything like that, but because he was worried about having to be sent off to war. Our last 40 or so years, which coincides with our whole lives, Jarad, has been this period of relative peace for us. I know loads of people have been displaced by war. A lot of people that went to school with us, including my high school sweetheart, all came over from the former Yugoslavia due to a civil war. So I'm not saying that, oh wow, it's been so beautiful. It's for us, I'm talking about here in the Australia. But that's been all luck. We were born at that time. We haven't had rations or anything like that. And our luck can change too. So I don't know where I'm going with this other than, gosh, just appreciate what we've got.
Yeah, totally. You don't, there's no way that we could be we knew we were going to be in this, peaceful environment where, like I said, where we are, for our entire lives.
So far.
But so far. And that's right. And it could change tomorrow. So, and as a collective, that's not great news for everybody. And as a collective, there could be great news for, so just like I said, enjoy what we've got and don't take it for granted and keep building that. I'm going to use this now, that luck surface area.
Hang in there, everybody. You've got friends. Just know that you've got 2 gentlemen who are right behind you, right beside you, who are here for you anytime you need us. We really are.
Take the little wins.
Yeah. For those of you who are still listening, so all 2 of you, please like us on Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. Hang around. We're going to be here. We really love doing this. Yep. And Jarad, I'm lucky that we got back in contact with one another. Again, that was a bit of a stroke of luck, showing something to a friend mentioning this, telling me to get in contact with, the mysterious Mr. Weston, and look where we are. So thanks so much, buddy, for being my friend and for living down the street when we were kids.
Yeah. How lucky was that?
Exactly. Just a stroke of luck. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, mate. Bye.